What is it?
It's so pretty.
I'm feeling happy, which is a big deal for me.
I want to touch it. Oh.
Hey, come back. Come on back here.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna swim with you.
I'm gonna get you.
I'm gonna be your best friend. Good feelings gone.
Hello. Please come in. There's some fresh cookies in the cookie jar. There's a pitcher of Kool-Aid on the counter. Have a seat. We'll put a movie on for you. This is Movies at Grandma's House, where we look at the movies from the past to see if they're still good today. And I'm your host, Isaac. Bubbles. My bubbles. And who is journeying with me across the ocean to try and find a clownfish child that got separated from his father.
This is Seth, because we were like, whoa, and I was like, whoa, and you were like, whoa.
That's how I would describe the day. It's like you know what kind of day I've had. Oh, very nice. It is
my acting chops in there.
Yes. I love it. That is wonderful. It is great to see you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well today. Got a busy week ahead of me, but I'm looking forward to it.
That's great to hear. This is a great time to just continue our peak Pixar. We are just so excited about this. We've considered, I think we can say, masterpieces in a way. These were movies that so many memories we had, but even revisiting, it's just amazing how well these movies hold up over time. And we get to continue it. It's like this just keeps getting better and better because we get to keep going. It's not like a temporary ring of movies. It just feels like, man, we're just on this trajectory where we can't stop. We're just going to keep getting some great movies. So before we talk about anything more, we want to make sure we give you, the listener, the proper spoiler warning. Please, if you have not seen this movie, stop what you're doing. It is on Disney Plus, free streaming. You can get it many different places on different platforms. You can rent or buy. This is one of those, I think everybody owns it on DVD, it seems like, or has some kind of access. So please, go do that first. Come on back. We're going to have a great time with a little movie called Finding Nemo. This movie was released back on May 30th, 2003, 21 years ago. That's how long this movie was released. It had a budget of $94 million. Pixar was definitely putting the cash into their movies. We discussed that as well with Monsters and Toy Story 2 around that budget. Here's the difference, though. Looking at the box office, this made bank $940.3 million.
Wow.
That's all I can say. Wow.
For back then, that's a lot for back then. Yeah.
Almost $1 billion. We'll get into it, but I remember this being a smash hit. When you actually look at the numbers, it still blows your mind. It at least blew my mind just looking at it. But with that in mind, going into this was released about 21 years ago. So I'm interested to hear, what were your first memories with this film?
So I saw this in theaters. It was a very memorable night. Animation was astounding. I just remember walking away feeling good. It was a good movie.
I agree.
End of podcast.
Yeah. This is I think of the same thing. It's funny. We have similar memories there. I can recall seeing this in the theater and everybody just being wowed. First memories, overall, just the impact this movie had. It still felt through this day, I feel like it, because when this movie came out, the closest I can compare it to, and when you look at the box office, actually they're very similar. So I guess it kind of makes sense to me in that way. But this was the Lion King of the 2000s, because even today, go to an aquarium, and what do you hear a child say? There's Nemo, there's Dory. It becomes real life almost. That's how much of an impact this movie had. Just like the Lion King, you went to the zoo and see lions. There's Simba and there's Mufasa. I feel like this had that same impact, and it's still felt today. Just people recognize the characters, they recognize what it did. So to me, this movie just had a lot of impact. Just looking back, I think again, you can feel it today throughout. Just go to an aquarium and you'll see what I mean. That kind of feeling. But this has been 21 years ago. I'm interested then. What kind of expectations did you have going back on the rewatch?
So simply, I was just hoping that I would enjoy it as much today as in the past, and that was really what I was hoping for.
Yeah. And for me, we watched this movie a lot with the kids. This is one of their favorites. I'll just say that right now. So going back to watch it again, I kind of had the same thing of I just want to have a fun time with it, and I enjoy watching my kids watch this movie. They just have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with it too, but it's one of those things when you get older and have kids, your perspective changes. So that's what I wanted to do. I just wanted to enjoy this rewatch with them and sit back and relax. It's just one of those films. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take the VHS out of the cover. Let's put it in the VCR and press play.
Plot revolves around Marlin, an overprotective clownfish, and his son Nemo, who live in the ocean. One day, Nemo tries to prove his swimming ability and attempts to swim towards a boat. He gets caught by a diver who collects fish in his fish tank in his dentist office. Marlin embarks on a journey to retrieve his son Nemo, making friends along the way, finding Dory, including Dory, who has a memory issue. Dory helps Marlin search for Nemo. The fish in the tank try to help Nemo get back to the ocean. After quite a roller coaster ride, we get reunited, with the movie ends with them renewing their relationship and love for each other.
Right. It feels like there's so much that happens in this movie, and that's putting it, very much to cover the plot points. But yeah, I got to know when you're watching this movie, if it's the plot, if it's the characters, what's some things that kind of jump out to you?
So I had made some notes. I really liked the different characters, like as you mentioned. The writing was very clever in this film, and the story was amazing. It was so detailed, yet a simple structure. So those were my notes for the plot.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's just a lot of, what's new, right? With Pixar, we've considered 4 movies before this, and it just continues the trend of well written. I think Pixar, they recognize the talent they had in the writing room. They just really know how to tell a story. I don't know what else to say. It's like you said, it's a very puts you on an adventure. It's a journey. It's a simple, a son gets separated from his father and they're trying to get back to each other, but you involve all these elements, and I just don't even know where to begin. There's so many characters, and that's what really love about this movie is it's in the ocean and it makes you feel like you're in the ocean. This isn't just here's a group of fishes and that's it. It's giving you all this variety of aquatic animals and their dealings with them and trying to get through them. And then you have Nemo, who is in the fish tank in this dentist office, and we'll get to that. I just find it hilarious. It's just so clever to have him in a dentist office of all things. Just great. I love that. And their interaction. You have a variety of fish there. So I agree with that. It's just, man, I'm still blown away by the writing that Pixar has. I mean, did you feel the same way just when you're just kind of like speechless?
You know, there was so much to the writing in this movie. I was really blown away by the fact that, like I mentioned, it's very simple, but yet very detailed at the same time. They broke down exactly what they needed to do, and they did it perfectly, almost. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And again, it's simple, but it's very layered.
Hmm.
You have, for me, I mean, where I can start at, I think this movie grows with you. At least it does for me personally, because when I watched this movie, I mean, I was a teenager and now I'm older. Now I have children of my own. So it's got its emotional moments because it's a father and its son and their fish and this and that. But there's so many, if you're a parent, I think you can relate. This might be the reason why it made such an impact too, because kids loved it. They loved all the fish, but I think as parents, you kind of relate. Marlin, if we start there, if we want to jump into characters, Marlin, I mean, he's just so much a helicopter parent for good reason.
Yes, very much
For
so.
very good reason.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's where we can start. What did you think of that opening scene? Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like I'm not familiar with this movie because I am. But when I rewatched that going back for this podcast, it hit me a different way. It was very shocking
Yeah.
of an opening to a movie, a kids movie, and I liked what I liked about the scene was is when he calls him Nemo, and I thought that, oh man, I'm getting choked up.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. Don't feel bad.
when he calls him Nemo, I'm just like I'm in from here
Yeah.
on out. I mean, it's just it. Although it was a little scary and intense, it was worth it for the rest of the storyline.
Right.
I would say it almost called for it, actually.
It's what drives the movie, drives Marlin's character, obviously, because of that traumatic event. I mean, that's just where, yeah, it's an intense scene. Uh, I'm trying to think of how many kids he had there. I mean, that's just the life of fish. That's how they have more. They have so many, and it's just so heartbreaking. Seeing, he gets knocked out and he comes to. When he comes back, they're all gone. And that's just like, to me, it just does a gut punch every time I watch it. I don't care how many times. It's just so sad. And we'll get to it later on, but I don't know why it's more than ever. And I'll just chalk it up to, I guess, being a parent myself. He picks up Nemo, he finds like, oh, there's one. And then Coral had said she liked the name Nemo. So that emotional connection there, obviously, I'm going to name him Nemo. It's okay, I've got you, Nemo. But later on in the movie, it kind of does a flashback to that, and it's just a gut punch to me. Yeah, I don't know what else to say because it's you get it. It's not something you're like, I love that this happened, but you get it because of what it does for the story, very much so. And then going from that to Nemo, so his character is he's feeling overburdened from his father, just constantly on edge, and be careful, and he's growing. He's wanting to be his own fish. You want to say own person, but I guess own fish is the correct way to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what'd you think of their dynamics? Or that kind of opens the doorway, right? The floodgates. Is that the right way to say it? Kind of opens up with a bunch of characters, but Nemo or any other characters at the beginning, anything that kind of you took notice of?
Um, Coral was amazing. I don't want to jump too far, but I love is it the preschool or school fish or
Yeah, with the
those
stingray.
yeah, that whole scene is like to introduce those characters was amazing. To piggyback off of what you said earlier though, when we are talking about the setting up the sequence of the movie, that was realistic. I mean, stuff like that happens all the time under the ocean. So It's believable, and it just even though it's hard to watch. I mean, I'm still a little choked up right now talking about it, but it's believable. It's realistic, and I feel like sometimes you need that realism in life, and um, it made you feel for the characters that were still there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's well done. Yeah, to go back to that scene, just you know, little details. Maybe I kind of picked up on it a little bit, but I definitely picked up on rewatch. And as I was older, it's just the best way to put it is like a mother's instinct. When the
Mhm.
barracuda is there, and Marlin's just no, they'll be fine. Just get back in. But she tries to go protect them. I mean, it's just so again, it's heartbreaking to see it. But I think it was intense, but I think it cut away. It wasn't show it left again. We've talked about it before. We'll probably talk about it again. Leaving a lot of stuff up to your imagination makes much more of an impact than I think it wouldn't have been a kids movie if they would have shown
No,
more.
I'm gonna have to agree with you on that one.
I mean, they're fish, but still, yeah, it was just done in the right way. I thought it was tasteful. It wasn't, oh, that was, it's sad. It's, going to drive the story. And that's why I really appreciate the story. As simple as you can say, well, it's just about, a fish that gets separated from his father and they're trying to get him back. Well, there's so much more to that. And with each scene, each interaction with Marlin, you feel for him. It's just like, I'm trying to get back to my son. Please help, please. And fish are just going, I don't. What's your big deal? At times, you kind of notice that, and that one scene, it's amazing. I mean, we're kind of really dissecting that scene, but I think we just got to emphasize how well done it was and how it
Oh,
aided the
yeah.
plot. Uh, yeah, I love when movies do that. So, but as much as we appreciate that, I mean, we can get on more cheerful subject. It is kind of a downer. um, I mean, we can just kind of open up. What are some more characters, and that could even be later in the movie. There's so many. I know it's a loaded question.
I've got a few notes for this one. As far as like the voice acting goes, I thought it was amazing. Again, Pixar picks out these really distinct voices, and they was just really well done.
Yeah.
I almost feel like this one might have been even better work than in the other ones as far as voiceover work goes. Um, a little fun fact: this was Allison Janney's first animated movie, which I'm a huge Allison Janney fan.
Oh.
Um, Also, Albert Brooks playing Marlin was amazing. I love his voice. You could just listen to him read the phone book, and it would be pleasant.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think if there's anybody else here that I noted in particular. I just think it was really well put together, and they casted well
Yes.
for this one.
You're hitting them all. I mean, I completely 100% agree with. I love this cast. It's so good. So, um, one that comes to mind, you have like Brad Garrett.
Mm.
He's in this again. He was in A Bug's Life, but he's still unique. There's a difference between those two. It's not like, oh, he's just a big character. I love Bloat. He's just so hilarious. And you got William Dafoe as Gil.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of in you can almost have to break it down. Like that's the fish in the fish tank at the dentist office. You have yeah, I mean, there's just so many. I think Stephen Root does Bubbles.
Mhm.
I love Stephen Root and his voice and just his personality, and it comes through. Even though for the most part that character just says Bubbles, and I just love it. It's great, and even like so you have Nigel the Pelican, Jeffrey Rush. He's a well-known actor too, and he just nails that. I love Nigel. He's another character I love. Yeah, I mean, where do you begin? Like you said, it's like,
Yeah,
where do
the
you
whole cast is
yeah,
incredible.
it really is. I mean, I think anybody can pick out someone they really like. I agree with you. Albert Brooks, I really love his voice, and, they just match the character that they're playing so
Mhm.
well. Um, but yeah, the characters, I just love them. And you have Crush. He was actually, do you know who did the voice of Crush, the turtle?
Oh, I do, and I can't think of it. I'm sorry. Remind me.
It was Andrew Stanton.
Oh, that's right. Yes, I knew that. Sorry.
Yeah. It's hard to keep track of all these names,
It
but
is.
it's great
I
that he
I
got
wanna
to do it.
I wanna say up front that this movie had more research than any other movie that I've came across so far. I forget how many movies we're in, but this more readily found, more fun facts, more just everything, trivia, just tons of research that you could do on this film, just right there at your fingertips. It quadrupled some of the ones we've done. I mean, it was amazing how much there was there, and I tried to make note of it, and I tried to think about it, but I'm sure I forgot half of what I read easily.
Oh yeah. No, there's so much packed into this movie. I mean, again, there's just it's wonderful though. That's what the ocean is. I mean, it fits
Yeah.
what is contained in this movie. It fits the subject matter. It's about the ocean, so there's so many layers. It's not overwhelming though. It's not like here's a million things thrown at you, and that's what I think is also well done about this movie, the pacing. It's not overwhelming you with all these fish at once. It takes it almost it, I don't know if I'm describing it the best way, but like a play. You have act 1, you have act 2. That's what it feels like. It's not just okay, we're going across the ocean and there's just random things. It's like you can break it down. Um, Marlin finds Dory. They connect. We learn about Dory and her short term memory loss. As much as you don't wish that on anybody. You know, it. I got a kick out of it at times. Uh, then you go to the sharks. Then you go to they're trying to get the mask and go down into where it's like the trench. I'm trying to remember the name of it, but it's like deep in the ocean. And that monster fish that's always so creepy and so on and so forth. It's just like, let's go here, let's go here. And I just love that. I just, the pacing,
Mhm.
it's something you might not notice right away, but when you go back and watch it a few times, you're like, I really enjoy it. It has its fun moments and intense scenes. I mean, we talked about that at the beginning, but they're going through a sea of jellyfish, and that's an intense scene. With the turtle, with Crush, that's an intense scene, but it's a fun, intense scene. So
Mhm.
yeah, I could just go on about it. What else? What else kind of sticks out to you? Just it could be anything.
Well, I hope this makes sense, but Pixar made like a realistic view of the surface water,
Yeah.
and they had to make it look fake so that people wouldn't confuse it with actual footage of this ocean surface. So apparently the original animation was so realistic, people thought it was real and they had to actually kind of tame it down a little bit, which I think
Interesting.
is awesome
Yeah.
because it works better for as a kid's picture to have it more animated. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if it were lifelike, I don't think it would be as funny.
Yeah. It's very much. I might have said about another movie, but what I appreciate is it's realistic, but it's got that cartoon charm,
Mhm.
its own style. I guess
Yeah.
that's the word I'm looking for. It's a style, and I think those hold up so much better than sometimes not saying it always doesn't age well, but when they try to make it as realistic as possible, they're hindered by the technology at the time. So when you
Mhm.
first see it, wow, this is great. And then over time, you kind of see the flaws in that technology more. But if it's cartoon, if it's got its own style, it holds up so much better. So much better. And this is one of them. I agree. But
The animation was excellent. I mean, the way they did the other characters of this film was so um just spot on. I mean, everybody had their own vibe, their personality, and it didn't matter what they looked like, but the fact that they went that far into doing that work, it matched the voices, and it was just perfect for entertaining factor.
yeah, it was. I just this has such a charm. That's what comes to my mind is like a charm style. It's just got a unique charm to it, and I love it. It's just so immersive. You feel like you're in that world. throughout. I mean, like you said, if you're on the surface of the water, it's still got this realistic but charm to it. And you have again in the ocean, you're following Marlin and Dory, and then you have in the dentist office on land with other people. That could almost just I, I just really appreciate those fish in the dentist. That might be one of my favorite characters. I mean, I love so many characters in this, but they might be one of my favorites. You could almost made a TV show out
Yeah.
of those characters. Just
Yeah.
life in the dentist office. That charm.
What was the girl's name? What the girl that?
Was it Darla?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, with the
That was
brace.
hysterical.
and the I'm kicking myself because I was like, I got to remember that name. They show an actual picture of her with the poor goldfish that she shook in the bag,
Oh,
and they
I
were
don't
like,
remember.
"What was his name?" Because they were just like, "Poor," is something like Dot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's like, he never had a chance, and it's just, oh, it's so I don't know, but I think William Dafoe again going back to he just great character. Gil, love him.
Mhm.
He's kind of got this mysterious vibe to him, but he's
Yeah.
not a villain, But and that's William Dafoe. Just man, it's just him in the fish form. Uh, do you remember who voiced Jocks, the little like shrimp?
Oh, I do not recall, but I love that character.
He he did the voice of Squeaker in Toy Story 2.
Oh, cool. I should have known that. Yeah, I should have known that. Yeah.
So unfortunately, he passed away a couple of years after the movie was made. Might be throwing out a fun fact there, but I know they dedicated like one of the movies to him. It was a few years after this, but
Okay.
yeah, he might have also did. Oh, I think in Toy Story, also not just Squeaker, but was it Lenny the binoculars? I
That
think
sounds right.
he did that, and then we'll get to it on Cars. I think he was the fire truck.
Oh, cool. That's
So
cool.
his name stuck out. I was like, I got to know who Jocks was. He has that, he's just kind of doing like the red Jocks, but I don't know. I just always love that voice. It's so much fun. So much fun though. But I look at it, it's like, again, so much to digest, but we can kind of go back to the other characters I like was the sharks. What did you think of the sharks with Bruce and the others?
Ooh, I really like those scenes. What was their motto?
Yeah.
I love that. That was
Fish
awesome.
are our friends, not food.
That's right. Oh yeah, I love that. That was great. Yeah, the character. I think you're expecting to see some sharks along the way, and you thought, or I thought one way, and they went another. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. feel for it a little bit because they're they run into Bruce and they think, oh no, they're gonna get eaten, and takes them to this sunken submarine, and there's two other sharks, and they were supposed to bring a friend for this meeting. It's like a whatever meeting you want to call it. In I crack up at the little fish that's like petrified and scared from the one, and Marlin and Dory, of course, know what's going on. They're Dory's oblivious, of course. That's her character. Yeah, I mean, it's just fun. It's just funny to see them, and the thing I have noted, eh, that whole scene, like you said, I love that scene. But Bruce gets a whiff of Dory, her blood, because she knocked her nose, and so he's trying to get in after him. They shut the door. I don't know why I laugh at this, but Dory's like, "Oh, I can read," and he's like, "Okay, great." And he's like, she looks at a sign, goes, "It's escape." No idea. I just love that line. There's little things like that in those scenes. I mean, anything else in those scenes or in the sharks, I mean, there's so much things you can blink and you can miss it. It feels like.
Very clever writing. I mean, it's just really one joke after another. I really enjoy that. The sequences where the sharks are in them, just really clever. I just didn't see it coming. Like they, they, they were so funny.
Yeah. Dory gets up there and says, "Well," because they're saying the last time they had a fish, like it's been 40 days since I had a fish, and Dory goes up there. She's like, "Well, I don't think I've ever ate a fish before." Well done. That's great. So silly, but yeah, the writing is great, and the little like landmine. What are those things called? They're just like sea mines or something.
Oh, I know there's a name for them. Mm,
They're like on a
I don't know.
chain, and they just kind of float there. I know there's probably a term
Mm,
for it, but
yeah, I know there is. I can't quite think of it.
but that whole
Yeah.
sequence, yeah, I still chuckle at that. It's a silly, and that's where going back to my kids, they love that scene too. Of Bruce is trying to get after him. He throws that missile, whatever, and it hits one of them and just triggers the explosions. It's just nonstop explosions. But then it cuts to these two pelicans on the surface, and there's this little bubble next to
Yeah,
one.
I love that. That's so
Yeah.
clever.
And just the nice. And then oh, it cracks me up every time. I know it's a fart joke kind of thing, but I can't help it. It just gets me. It's hilarious. So, and then earlier they talk about the instead of the boat, it's the butt. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of that.
I meant to bring that out, yeah.
Yeah, what'd you think about that scene or anything else?
Oh, the kids' voices were just so funny and like the writing was clever and like the way they acted it out, they were just genuinely, fascinated with this butt. It was so cute. Ah,
I shouldn't laugh,
the
but the
butt.
yes, just like we're working with our kids not to say so many,
Oh no.
so you can't help it. It's a part of the movie. They were giggling at that, of course, and the one fish with the buck teeth when Nemo swims out, it's like, oh my goodness, he's going out to sea. Like I love that too. Just the like you talk about the characters have their own unique flavor to them, and it's just
Yeah.
I love it. I love the variety.
Yeah.
It wasn't so vanilla. Like okay, there's this group of fish and they're all the same, and so on and so forth. So I, I don't know. I can just go on about this movie. What else kind of sticks out to you?
Something you said made me think of I came across it twice in research. The creator of the movie, what I forget who was it who directed it?
I think it was Andrew Stanton that directed
Okay.
this one.
I think
'Cause
that's right. And
yeah,
when he was pitching the idea for the movie, he had drawn up all these boards for his ideas, but like they were just so like intense and things, and it just he was so enamored with it that everybody got involved. Like they had to because it was just so overwhelmingly cool. And storyboards is the word I was looking for. And I I think that's really cool that he was just really into this idea and he got everybody on board. And I think that was really cool.
that might be why these earlier Pixar movies work so well because I don't know. You have staff obviously maybe move on or retire or whatever the reason is, but they just had that nucleus and
Mhm.
like you said, they kind of came together. I'm sure they should still have something similar, but I recall reading about Pixar, they tried to make it an environment. There was like behind the scenes, here's the Pixar studio, and it didn't look like a studio. It just looked like this place to kind of hang out. And they had a lot of just relaxing elements, and they were encouraging that because they said along the lines something like the creative juices to be flowing at all times. And the thought was, okay, we might be working on Finding Nemo right now, but somebody's playing ping pong or relaxing. They had these like things set up in their office, and they might have an idea, and
Mhm.
they want them to go, okay. make sure you get that down, but you know, we're all working together also on this collaborative project. So
Yep.
they really pushed, let's be creative. Let's just pull all these ideas. Let's not ignore, oh, this one's probably not a great idea. No, bring it to the table. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And it was a collaborative effort. So yeah, kind of a long-winded answer of what you're saying there, but that's something that always stuck out to me of maybe why going back to these movies they hold up so well too is they just had that original unique flavor to them, and it was all over. It wasn't just one person calling the shots. It was
Mhm.
very much everybody kind of contributing. So yeah, just along those lines, I mean, I think the music is well done too. What'd you think about the music?
Oh, music was great. Another fun fact. I believe that Randy Newman's cousin did this movie,
Oh, okay.
and he used a 105-piece orchestra.
Wow.
And as a music buff, a musician, I really take that note down and go, wow,
Yeah.
wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I love the music for this one. It's very unique and it fits that vibe that's going on and tells the story with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's something I forgot about. It was, yeah, a relative. I couldn't remember who it was, but it was a relative, so it was still in the Newman family. I mean, he just kinda cemented a family, tradition of, you gotta be having someone from the Newman family in these Pixar movies, but, it's great. It's wonderful, and at times, it just I don't know, just like the ocean, it can be really peaceful, just kinda puts you at ease, and that's what it needs at times is that tone or flow to go
Mhm.
with it. It's just I can't get over how sometimes soundtracks are overlooked. This one, I feel like it I think gets the praise, but it sometimes gets overlooked. I think this one should get a little more credit. Maybe just me personally. Just I'm really impressed with how it really gets your emotions in, and there's a lot of emotions in this movie already, but the the music is a very big driving point, just like the previous movies. I think that's just another strong suit. I think if you want to see a consistency with Pixar, they're gonna have strong characters, they're gonna have a fun plot, and they're gonna have great music. Animation's gonna be top notch, of course. I mean, yeah, it's all top notch to me. Yeah, that's all I can say with it. Anything else that stick out to you? I'm curious. You got any more fun facts as well?
I wanted to mention, I think it's Thomas Newman.
Okay.
So just in case people were wondering, I got 3 fun facts. Demand for tropical fish went up after the release of the movie, especially
Mhm.
clownfish and blue tang. Of
Yeah,
course.
of
I mean,
course.
that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Um, I might have actually 4 fun facts.
Yeah.
During the entire movie, Dory never says Marlin's name.
This is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she never says Marlin's name. Now, I don't think it's because she keep forget it because she remembers certain things, but I think it's because they just want to be clever. Like she'll address him a different way every time.
Yes. I
Um,
yeah.
the diver's camera model number was A113,
There it is.
and that's an easy one to miss. So keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yep.
Um, the in the dentist office waiting room, you can see a Jack in the Box Buzz,
Yep.
the plane that he used to fly, and the Luxo Junior Ball.
Yep. All
So
there.
those are my fun facts. There, this movie, like I said, the research that is readily available is out like a catastrophic amount. So like that, I compiled what I thought would be fun, and
Yeah. Those are great. That's what I was gonna say. We gotta be sure to spot it, and
yeah.
and you could blink and miss them like normal. They sometimes make it a little more. Yeah, you'll pick it up pretty easy, but this one was yeah, like the buzz. I was able to pick that one out along
Mhm.
with making sure to look for the A113 and the ball. Um, did you know the part in the dentist's office when it's Darla and the fish are trying to save Nemo. So there's all a commotion, and then it stops and pans to the waiting room, and it looks like he's like drilling her, but he's trying to
Yeah.
get all, you know.
Yeah.
Did you notice what he was reading?
No, I don't remember.
He was reading an Incredibles comic book.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes, I did know that. Yeah, that's crazy.
yeah. So they
That's
were
really
getting,
cool.
yeah, it's really cool. They were getting kind of clever if you you kind of made note of things like, huh, at the time you wouldn't know what that was, but it was kind of, they give you little teases of what's to come. I thought that was really clever though. Yeah, you can see that. And there's a lots more, like you said. I mean, I just, yeah, I love this movie. This is one of those movies I didn't realize how much I quote also. I love to quote movies. That's just something I do, and I know of several other people that do it, so we're kind of we'll go back and forth on it, but I mean, you have your just keeps swimming from Dory, of course. That's a memorable line. I, I got to get your thoughts. What'd you think of the seagulls?
So I kind of have a backstory with that, but I'll try to be brief about it.
Okay.
So I heard a public speaker use a line from that and talking about mine, and I was enamored with what he said. And I went out and I don't know if my family bought it for me or if I bought it, but I have a shot glass with them on it, and it says mine on it. And I love that. I mean, that's hysterical.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's,
And the way they say it too, it's just done the right way.
yeah, that might be another production crew or a writer that provides that voice. I mean, and they just
I think
multiply
it
it.
was. I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah. But I love that it's the kind of the gag fun, but I just love it. I know some people, going back to the impact of this movie, I think when things get so big, it might irritate people. I knew some people like, oh gosh, not that again with the seagulls, but I always loved them. I thought it was hilarious, and
Never got tired of it here.
no, no, it was so great. And actually, my one son's favorite scene of this entire movie involves the seagulls, but not what you would think, like the main, when they're trying to get away from them. But it's at the end when Dory's trying to get Nemo back with his father because she realizes, oh, this is Marlin's son. Of course, she doesn't call him Marlin, like you said. Fun fact there, but they see some crabs, and Dory's like, "Did you see a clownfish go by?" And he's like, "Yeah, I saw him, and I ain't gonna tell you, and you can't do anything about it." And Dory puts the crab up above the water, and that's when there's some seagulls, and I'm like, "Mine." That one, just like little subtle, but mine. I love that. And then the crab's just, I'll talk. And then they'll, my. That's my one son's favorite part. He just practically belly laughs at that part. So,
That's one of my favorites for sure.
yes. So many great quotes. Just, yeah, we'll find ourselves, saying mine. Um, there's a shark bait. Ooh, ah. I love that. And the whole, they try to put him through the ring of fire. I said the ring of fire. Jocks, that means now. Ring of fire. There's so many great quotes. So, what were some of your favorite quotes that you can think of? Those were a few off the top of my head.
I'm drawing a blank, but there's so many. I mean, the whole movie is chock full of them. I think the one that I love the most is when they're in the school or whatever, and is it the stingray? He goes, "Oh, there's nothing to see here."
That's a great one too. I've said that before. I love that line.
I used to say it all the time back in the day.
There's so many great. Yeah, you can just relate it. And that and then there's what is that fish? It's like a flat, is it a flounder fish that's flat?
Oh, I don't know.
I forget what they're called, but it just looks like a pancake fish. It's just flat, and its eyes are on one side, so the fish mess with them. And he goes,
Mhm.
"Oh, where'd you go? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" And he's just going in circles trying to see the kids that were messing with him. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's you quoted him before. There's Crush the turtle.
Yeah.
Dude, all those lines. "No, Mr. Turtle is my father." Like, that's where I just think back. Like, man, this has so many quotes, so many of them. We, didn't even talk about. There's as well, and I'm starting to blank on it. But yeah, the jellyfish. That's another one I quote a lot as well. He says squishy. He will be I shall call him Squishy, and he will be my. That I don't know why, that's one I quote. Yeah, and then Dory talking whale, just, "Where are you? Where are you?" The talking whale. Eh, I could go on and on, but yeah,
Dory, you can't talk to whales.
he says, "Go back to the back of the throat," or
Of course he says that.
what is that? Oh, that's another line I love. What was that? It was like, he's saying, "Go back to the throat," or he wants a root beer float.
Oh my goodness.
I love it.
Oh.
Oh, it's so good though. I mean, there's just the quotes. I go back to the impact. I remember, like, again, the seagulls and those types of things. The just keep swimming. Uh, those types of things were just kind of the memorable things that just I don't know. It just still holds up even today on rewatch. So I think we touched on a lot. We might not have touched on Dory as much. I kind of feel like we might have left her character out. There's a lot of fun. She kind of has a short-term memory loss and things like that. It kind of goes into the story. Um, but yeah, anything else that you want to bring out or touch on?
I really enjoyed this one. I think that they put this together really well. You can tell it took a lot of time. Like they really spent, um, hard work and effort trying to get to have such a finished product so well done. I mean, and it just shows every aspect of the movie just shows.
Yeah, I agree. Just we call it, spoilers here. I think we enjoyed it pretty well, but it's just again, it's up to almost that certified Pixar. When you think of a Pixar movie, this is maybe someone's favorite. When you say, "Hey, what's your favorite Pixar?" I can totally see that, and
Yeah.
it's got a lot of just substance. And I come back to that word, charm. It's a charming movie, if you want to
Yeah.
put it simply. So that's the best way I can put it. But before we get down to it, we like to review these movies. Let's take a look around the internet. Let's just kind of get some feedback because I had mentioned there was an impact with this movie, but I'm curious, what kind of reviews are you seeing out there, Seth?
Well, you're gonna love these because we've got some repeat offenders again.
All right.
Boba_Fett 1138, one of our favorites,
There he is.
says, "Who said fish are boring? 9 out of 10."
Love it. Love the name. Love the statement. That's true. I mean, people get fish tanks and just watch them all the time. These have actual personalities and fun quotes and
Oh, I forgot to mention. So growing up, my one of my brothers had a fish tank. He always had a fish tank, but he had multiple fish tanks at one point of saltwater and freshwater fish, and he had a bunch of yellow and blue tangs and clownfish and
wow.
everything. So when I saw this movie, like I was really familiar with a lot of those fish, and that I think that made it more special to me.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
that's a neat thing to think about when I think about his fish. I remember anytime he'd go away, if the family had to take care of someone would end up dying because
Oh,
um because because the salt water, you have to keep the pH level perfect all
yeah.
the time, and it's really hard to maintain those tanks, but it's a lot of work. But
Yeah.
it's worth it if you like fish, and I really love fish as a kid.
Yeah, you kinda reap the benefits there. He was doing all that hard work, but you were able to still
I had freshwater tanks myself, but I never had any saltwater, so that was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Sorry to go on a tangent.
I love it. No, I love it. It adds to it because, yeah, I mean, this is about fish. And if you had pet fish, I think you would love this movie. Like, that's a no
Yeah.
brainer, right? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So little songbird, the little songbird said, "What an outstanding movie! 9 out of 10."
Okay. So consistent nines across the board so far. Interesting. But yeah, gotta love those names. I love them.
The last one I found was Right Wing Guy says, "Pixar's best movie, 10 out of 10." And I had to choose that one because like you had mentioned, this might be somebody's favorite movie. It was his favorite. So that's kind of cool.
Right. I've heard some people say that, so I'm glad you included that. And we're all gonna have our own taste, but I totally get it. I could see why this is someone's favorite, and especially like you just discussed. I love that you told that story. If you love fish, oh man, this is just in your. Why wouldn't you love this movie? It's so great, awesome. Even if you don't like fish, I think you gotta like it in some way. It's just same time. Who doesn't like fish other than maybe the smell or something? I don't know, but yeah. Point being, yeah, this is a very special movie to I think a lot of people. So yeah, those are some great reviews. Thanks for bringing those out as always. So that gives us kind of a scope of it, and I think again the impact we're just seeing that from the reviews, just kind of glancing around. But let's get down to it, shall we? How are we going to rate this movie? So I have to ask you, for Finding Nemo, are you going to take it home? Are you going to leave it at grandma's? Are you going to hide it in the attic?
So far, there's not much diversity with the Pixar movies that we've watched and covered yet, but I have to continue the trend and take this one home. It meant so much to me. I can remember the night that I saw it. It was mind blowing when I saw it, and it still gives me that feeling every time I watch it.
Very nice. No surprise there. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like we're not really making it
I wish there
very.
was. I wish there was some variation, but
What can you say though?
no.
This is a take it home for me. It's
Yeah.
was special back then, it's special today, and again, it feels like the more I watch it, the more just I can relate to it. I don't know. There's something about it. I go back to being a father and having kids, and that's very much a driving point of this movie. And Marlin's character, he has that just protective thing, and so you kind of relate to it. I can say right now, like the first time I watched it, Marlin was kind of annoying a little bit to me because I'm just like, "What's your problem?" Like, I get it, I understand, but still, that's a little too much. Now it's like, no, 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 no. You be you, Marlin. You are everything you're doing. It's like I can totally relate to that, and I go back to it. I just love the style of this movie. It's just so much fun. We went to Disney World, revisited it for the first time in years. This was going back like 15 years ago, still a long time since now, but they had so much Finding Nemo theming. It was so cool. It was just like, wow, that's where you really go. That's where you go to Disney World, where you find something you really enjoy, and there's some fun memories from that. Just going to Disney World. My parents got it's like a photograph holder. You can like print out
Mhm.
pictures, but it's the seagulls, and
Mhm.
there's these little signs that say mine, and that's where you stick the pictures on. I remember just like they were like, we got to get this. Like, so this movie has such a fun memories looking back on it as a family, and still today making fun memories. Like I said, with my kids, this is one of their favorites, and yeah, I don't know what else to say about it. It's just one of those movies. So, well, that'll about do it here. But before we wrap things up, let's make sure we tell people where they can find us. So, Seth, where can people locate us on our social platforms?
So currently we're on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. You can email us at movies@grandmashouse@gmail.com. And we are on Patreon. Hashtag Andy or Bust. We are trying to get the voice of Andy from Toy Story movies on the podcast with us. The current prize for the giveaway is a trilogy of the Toy Story on Blu-ray sealed. So check us out and become a member.
All right. And here it is. It's still here. It is sealed and waiting for somebody to get it. So stay tuned. Be sure to be a member. Like we mentioned, you can be on there for free. You can just kind of keep up with the updates. But if you want to help, as Seth brought out, trying to get John Morris on, we're anxious to get him on, have him share some of his stories from being Andy. And again, they just announced Toy Story 5. He might have some involvement there. So who knows? We might get a sneak peek. Who knows what he's able to share, but we'll find out. Well, that'll about do it here for now at Grandma's house. Like all the good things, they sometimes have to come to an end. But don't worry, we'll be back to visit Grandma soon. But in the meantime, remember to be kind and rewind. We'll see you next time.
Oh, there's nothing to see here.
You can do it.
That's the shortest red line I've ever seen.
Come on, Peach. Now what?